Welcome to the MiDOViA Menopause Podcast, your trusted source for evidence-based, science-backed information related to menopause. MiDOViA is dedicated to changing the narrative about menopause by educating, raising awareness, and supporting women in this stage of life, both at home and in the workplace. Visit MiDOViA.com to learn more. I'm one of your hosts, April Haberman, and I'm joined by Kim Hart. We're co-founders of MiDOViA, certified health coaches, registered yoga teachers, and midlife mamas specializing in menopause. You're listening to another episode of our podcast, where we offer expert guidance for the most transformative stage of life, bringing you real conversations, education, and resources to help you overcome challenges and reach your full potential through midlife. Join us and our special guests each episode as we bring vibrant, fun, and truthful conversation, and let us help you have a deeper understanding of menopause. Hey friends, I'm excited to share a significant milestone that you may have heard mentioned. MiDOViA has launched the first ever menopause-friendly U.S. accreditation program. This program sets a comprehensive standard, overseen by a third-party panel of experts, ensuring, air quotes here, that menopause-friendly is more than just a term. It reflects a real commitment to meaningful, sustainable workplace changes. It's important to us that the menopause-friendly logo is meaningful and marks a high standard within the menopause space. We hope you'll join us on the journey to becoming menopause-friendly as a leading pioneer in the States. You can find more information at menopausefriendlyus.com. Hi, everyone. Today we have Leah Lee on our show. Leah is a certified Enneagram coach whose truest passion is participating in meaningful conversations that enrich individuals' lives and their relationships around them. Her decision to be a coach was inspired when she came across the Enneagram personality system that helped bring clarity to difficulty as she was entering her midlife years. She's blessed to be married to her high school sweetheart, raising two incredible teenagers, I can attest to that, and their goofy chocolate lab. She's currently working on creating a video series to guide people through personal work with the Enneagram. Leah provides individual, couples, and team coaching, as well as in-person workshops. Join us today on the show as we really unpack the Enneagram and find out what aha moments we had ourselves. Take a listen. We can't wait to have this conversation with Leah. Leah, thank you so much for being with us today.
I am so excited. Talking about the Enneagram is my favorite thing, so I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, we're excited to dive in. You know, you and I have known each other for a very long time. I was thinking about this morning, like, oh my goodness, I think over 15, 16 years we've known each other. But you just recently changed your career entirely. You've dug deep into the Enneagram, and I know that our audience is going to be excited to hear more about that today, and especially how it can help women in midlife. I am familiar with Enneagram. Kim is. We know our Enneagram types, have studied it. But for our audience, they might not be as familiar with that. So for our listeners, can you start off by explaining what the Enneagram is?
Yes. The Enneagram is a personality system that's made up of 9 distinctive types of people. And these types of people, they're labeled or numbered, represented by the numbers 1 through 9. And they are made up of these unique core motivations that drive people behind the why they think, feel, and behave the way that they do.
How'd you find it? Tell us your story a little bit. Okay, so now we know what Enneagram is. You changed careers, as I just mentioned before. How did you come upon the Enneagram? How did you find it? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, it's amazing because it fits right into what you guys are talking about with midlife. is like, yeah, midlife crisis. It really is a real thing. Identity, like, oh my goodness, what am I doing with my life? Sure, I'll start a career. I'm definitely someone who's always liked personality tests, who's been fascinated with people. And a friend of mine told me about a book, and it's called The Road Back to You, and about the Enneagram. And I was like, what the heck is that? That sounds really weird. Like, what is that? So, my interest was very piqued. I was in a pretty desperate time of my life searching for who I was. And so, I thought, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of research on my own. Usually I'm someone who like talks with everyone else about it. I wanted to share this new thing with my husband. I was like, he poops on everything. So I'm just going to figure it out for myself for a little bit. I'm not a big reader. So this was like a big like task for me. So I first chose to find some YouTube videos and do a quick, like, okay, what is this? And there weren't many out there at that time. And I found a couple by Richard Rohr. He was teaching, doing some, like lectures about it. And it was fascinating. I still was skeptical, but when it got to a certain type, it just like hit me in this kind of creepy way where it was like, how does he know me?
How does he know
That's
me? Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yes,
How does he know me? Oh my word. So that hooked me. And then I continued listening. I listened to the book and was just obsessed. Yeah.
And you turned that into a career. How did that turn go?
Yeah, it became very impactful. Like I was saying, during that season of my life, I'm someone who's been a very much go-getter, dreams, do what you want to do. Like, and I've been really, really supported by my husband to be able to do that. I was a stay-at-home mom and got to do that, but it kind of stifled my creativity and my drive. And so I thought, okay, well, we need to sell our condo. So I'll get my real estate license and do it myself.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
And people like me. So they'll pick me to, really work hard to sell their house. It didn't go as I planned. So a lot of struggle for a long time. And I actually fell into a depression. I was very, very anxious. And I had a recent diagnosis of ADHD. So I was not managing that. I was a hot mess. And so trying to do all these like self-help, these 5 things, in the morning are going to change the rest of your day. And you're just going to get all of this stuff done. And I could not get it together. And so then hearing this type, I'm a type 3, whose biggest fear is failure, whose biggest emotion is shame, whose biggest weakness and struggle is deceit, which was like, what? I'm very honest about who I am, but I'm not. Like, that cut me to the core. So I for the first time was like able to put all these pieces together and be there and just be like, I see myself and I can give myself grace. And it was kind of surreal, to be honest. My husband was like, watching those videos, he's like, that is so you.
Mhm.
I thought, yeah, but I didn't need him to tell me. That's kind
Yeah.
of how I've always lived, was like,
Mhm.
he was affirming me. That's the other thing that's very important to a type 3, was all these affirmations you perform to get recognition. And that kind of stuff was so gross to me to hear.
Mhm.
But when it started, those behavioral things started coming to this motivation of like what drives me, it made sense. And I was able to rest in that and know how to move forward. It got me unstuck.
Mhm.
So,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it is. And congratulations. Bravo.
Yeah, for sure.
it's a lot
It,
of work. It's
it's
hard,
a
hard
lot of
work,
I know
right?
being a person's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Adulting is
Being human
not.
is tough, right? Yeah. But you know what I love
Yeah.
about that story, Leah, and I'll call it a story, but your life,
Yeah. Right.
your journey is that finding the Enneagram for you was a healing journey.
Yeah.
And you took that and turned it into something beautiful to
Mm.
help other people, right,
Yeah.
on their journey. And I think that purpose is what motivates us, right? And I'm
Exactly.
kind of putting words in your mouth right now, but I assume that's
Yes. Thank
part
you.
of, right, why you get up every day and you do the
Why I
program, right?
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Like I said earlier, I'm someone who shares, and when I find something that has changed my life,
Mhm.
whether it's a product that I'm like obsessed with or whatever, but this ties everything in my life together to
Yeah.
be able to have that purpose for, look, there really is hope. There really is this tool that can help ground you and give you something to heal through. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the next questions that we were going to ask you is like, why would the Enneagram be helpful for a woman in midlife? But I mean, I think that you just talked about the difference that it made for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts around why this is a great tool right now? And I mean, I think finding your passion is really a place that we see women struggling. Like, what's my passion and purpose? Which you did, but how does the Enneagram help you right now in this place of change in your life's journey?
Yeah. I think I've found a lot of people relate to my story
Yeah.
because there's just from, a season of life of just go, 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 and you're just doing and you're just living. There's something that shakes you, right? That like shakes us to the core and
Mhm.
kind of makes you aware of, oh, I'm not where I thought I would be. My marriage isn't new anymore, or I thought I would be married by now, or like the kids don't need me as much, so there are these things, these markers that end up happening, and so it feels like you're exhausted, you're in chaos of internally, really. It's
Yeah.
and so having something that grounds you, that you can be honest with and be real through. We've looked to self-care a lot, and I agree with a lot of what we've been able to talk about with self-care, but it sometimes keeps us or makes us strive for more, and those fixes don't really fix it, and so the pendulum can swing really far the other way, not thinking about yourself to really thinking about yourself. And so we're trying to find that, um, I don't know, I don't like balance either, because life isn't really naturally balanced. But just again, that like inner cut to the core, right? That foundation. And so I think a lot of women, as we see with menopause, like everyone's timing is different, symptoms are different, triggers are different. So,
Mhm.
but discovering your passion, learning how to create boundaries, and is just helping to live more freely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Love it.
I love that phrase that you used. It shakes you to the core, because I do feel like women in midlife feel that way, right? I mean, everything that we knew in our younger years is different now. And there are certain things that do shake us to the core. One of them being menopause symptoms, right? Some women experience menopause symptoms in a more heightened way. Some breeze through it. But for those that are experiencing menopause in a more conflicting way, I guess, difficult way, let's talk about that a little bit, because menopause brings on emotional, psychological challenges. And I'm wondering how these challenges vary based on different Enneagram types, just kind of bringing it back to Enneagram. Can you kind of give us an example here?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. And I love that, like I can give examples. And this is just like brief examples. So again, talking about each Enneagram type has core motivations. And really knowing those core motivations can help us see or become aware of what activates us. It can then help us anticipate those moments, and then be able to articulate, what we're experiencing. And so I'll give an example. Let's say and again, like you were saying, like we're familiar with the Enneagram, so I'll try and keep it as like, you know, uh, basic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But so 1 through 9, and we'll give an example of a type 1 who is
That would be me.
that
For everyone that's listening.
our
Yes.
sweet,
You will
dear,
never guess when she describes it that it's April.
like
Okay, keep going. Yeah.
me. um and that's the other thing, you guys. It's like, this is super vulnerable. A lot of people don't like the Enneagram because it exposes them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And some
Yes.
people are more freed because of that. But
Mhm.
there are specific types that definitely do not want to have this awareness, because, or people to know, because it is very exposing.
Mhm.
And so, okay, so a type 1 is sometimes called the perfectionist. That can have kind of a negative connotation to it. So I like to call it a reformer. And they strive for improvement in everything. They always want to get back to the like the original, the best, like form of everything. And so they want to be seen as good, right, to have order and system. And in their heads, there is a perfect way that this can be done. So, but they also want to avoid being seen as incorrect or inappropriate. And they've believed this lie that it's not okay to make mistakes. And so they maintain this high order with no room for error. A type 9, which is right next to a type 1 on the Enneagram diagram, which I'm not going to go into, but it's totally okay. And it's just part of how things move. A type 9 is sometimes called the peacemaker. I like to say the peacekeeper. So they're always striving for harmony. They want to be seen as a good listener, as kind, non-judgmental. They're very chill, laid back, easygoing, go with the flow. They avoid being seen as disruptive, and they do not at all cost want to rock the boat. So they've believed this lie that it's not okay to assert yourself. And so they keep their opinions and thoughts to themselves, even if, even if they have if they're chill, right? So that's why they maintain their chill. Okay, so they have some differences, but they also have some similarities, this 1 and 9. And so the more you learn about the Enneagram, there's other like subcategories with groupings of 3 and how they initially engage the world. And so a 1 and a 9 is in this grouping called the gut triad, where they're instinctive, like their gut instinct is just their first initial way that they engage the world and how they process and, respond to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a common emotion of anger, but they also have a common desire of justice. And so, but each of these show up differently in all 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so in health and stress, they will take on different characteristics of different types. So they may move to an unhealthy type or characteristics of another type. And then again, in health, the healthy side of a different type.
Mm-hmm.
Am I?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I want to go deeper. I totally want to go deeper on all of it.
I'm like,
leaning in.
and keep
He's
going.
leaning in.
You know what, Leah, question came up for me on, I told you that I was a 7 before we got into this call, and I'm like a little embarrassed that I'm a 7. Like, are people and maybe that's what 7s do, but I always want to be the other numbers. I always think like, oh, why can't I be more detail oriented and drive like April? Do people is that just a 7, or is that generally how people look at
good question.
an Enneagram?
Is so good. I will speak specific to your type, Kate, and what you're saying is so like classic because and interesting. Everyone wants to be a 7 because they're the enthusiasts. They're the optimists. They're the ones that are the life of the party. They're the ones that are going and like trying new things. And so it's very interesting that you say that, but also it makes sense because you don't want to miss out on anything. You want to have a bit in peace to everyone and everything. So totally makes sense. Now, what I was talking about with how we can move to different numbers, actually a 1 and 7 do correlate with each other. And they do. So there are some similarities between that.
I can see that, huh, Kim?
Yeah, totally. It's funny. Yeah. It's funny. Last night, something happened. My husband got mad, and then he was like, and it was something stupid. He's like, I know I shouldn't be mad on this, and you're going to tell me why it's a good thing, aren't you? I'm like,
no, of course I am.
Silver lining. Yes. Yes.
I'll just let you be with where you are, because I'm the one that is always like, well, at least it's not this, right? At least you didn't die today, whatever.
I think it's interesting, though. It's been a while since I studied the Enneagram, and I really haven't marinated in it, for lack of a better way of saying that, recently. So in prep for the podcast, I had to go back and look at what does 1 say, and what's my wing, and I need to understand this. But as we're unpacking it here in this conversation, it occurred to me that the Enneagram is so useful with relationships, right? So we can understand ourselves better. And when we do move into that stressful situation, maybe it's midlife, maybe it's another stage of life, we understand our go-to, right? What's our default?
Yeah.
And good, bad, no judgment here. We just know it. So we can understand it. We can give ourselves grace, all the things that you said earlier in the podcast, but it also can help us in those relationships with other people and communication and how that differs, especially going into different stages of life. But it can also help us in relationships in our careers as well, right? So not just personal relationships, but in our careers as well, as women are navigating that maybe and changing careers. So it really can be useful in so many different situations that I think that is the beauty of the Enneagram, frankly. Is that
Totally.
every person, whatever stage you're in, whatever you need it for, whether it's yourself, someone else, relationships, it can be really useful. Yeah.
Absolutely. And very, very well said. Very well said. Yeah, it is. It transcends like every aspect. Some people, even in their faith, it really can transcend into that. And so, yeah. Do you guys want to kind of hear the difference of how a 9 and a 1 might?
Yes, I do.
Look at experiencing.
Yes, let's do it. Keep going.
So a type 1, they might have a stronger reaction to like a memory fog than a type 9 will. So, and this can create an opportunity for mistake for a type 9 or 1, a type 9 might have a stronger reaction to irritability or mood swings because they don't feel at peace. And so this can create an opportunity for them to blow up, to have, to assert themselves, which is what they're totally avoiding. A type 1, they can be very frustrated with fatigue because they can't get the things done that they want to get done. But a type 9 might be like, I am okay, like so okay with just being comfortable and having alone time and, chilling on the couch. So those are just very, very small, just between a 1 and a 9, but gives you an idea of understanding not only your type, but different types can really give us patience and compassion and care that we all want to give. But when we have an understanding and this like unspoken thing, that it's so much more beautiful and really can help the healing process.
Okay, I just think that's fascinating.
That's an awesome example. For
It
sure.
is. And I'm like, I never thought about brain fog affecting a 1 and a 9 in different ways, but of course it would.
Yeah.
Right.
Gosh, a light bulb literally just went on for me.
Oh, yay.
Yes. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. It's fascinating. So
yeah, there's a lot more to
I'm sure you can take every single one of those symptoms, right? And go, okay, this is what it might look like for every single Enneagram type, which we don't have time to do that today, but our listeners can get a hold of you if they are interested in doing.
Where should they start though? Where do people that don't know about this or do know and want to go deeper, how do they learn more and where should they start?
Yeah. Of course, I am dying to help anyone. I do have a website. I think you guys will put a link to in the show notes.
Yeah, we will, but call it out. What is it?
It's leahleecoaching.com.
And Leah is Leah.
Yep. Leah, coaching. And I've tried to put a few resources up there for, I've created a couple PDFs that people can download specific to their type. But, not everyone can have as clear of a as I did with that speaks very clearly to me. And so, I think I would love to help with that. There are assessments. There are lots of assessments out there. A couple that are free, or they take, a good 30 minutes, which it's a great place to start. I think I can give you a link. I'm working on my own.
Perfect.
Great.
I think I'm working through it, but we're close. So my hope is that I'm absolutely providing that for free, because that is just like, my gift of like, let's guide you to quickly get to that. But some people just need clarification. And so, and talking through it with someone, with a professional like me, I can help ask the right questions to get to that quicker. even for you, April, it was like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
to have someone that has like, this is what I do, I'm able to help you get there quicker. So, I've also put some books on there, some podcasts, YouTube videos, just to be able to have that go-to place to
Sounds
direct
perfect.
you.
Yeah, that's great.
Is
And
there any
as we-
places, I think, go ahead, April.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Are there any places that are, Enneagram based support groups for midlife? Any places that people in this space can go to be with other either like sevens or although that would be crazy. But is there support that people can get based on Enneagram?
Not specific to menopause, but I think that is like a massive, massive need.
Yeah.
So we'll
That's your
see what
next
kind of,
thing, Leah.
yeah, we'll see what kind of response we get here,
Group
right?
for Enneagram.
Yeah, you're
Love
welcome. We
that.
just gave your next business idea.
I love it. I'll take it. Hey, I'm always trying to be prepared. I don't think I'm experiencing any menopause symptoms yet. And you guys have been a tremendous resource
Oh, yay.
for
Thank
me.
you.
I've already shared you with so many people,
Thank
and
you.
to have a heads up prior to being in the middle of it has been such a gift. And it's really
good.
inspired me to actually start conversation with my mom.
Good.
My best friend lost her mom just recently. And so she now doesn't get that opportunity to have that conversation. And so, thank you for all of that you're doing. And I'm so, so, so thrilled to be able to tie these together.
Me too.
And so we will have to be working on this.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. We're going to keep working on it for sure.
But I'm always up for suggestions, because there are so many opportunities. It's really hard for me to like pick and choose what to be focused towards. So right now, I'm actually currently creating video series to be able to have access at any time for anyone, just a basic, 101 Enneagram, and then how to find your type, and then, some other stuff in that to be able to, again, have that like go-to resource for people to get started. And I am so thrilled anytime an opportunity like this to come up, like, yes, let's do a support group here. Yes, I would love to be a part of it.
That's great.
All right. Well, Leah, is there anything else that you would like our audience to take away from this conversation today that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, as passionate as I am, as much as I believe in this tool, it is not an end all. It is not a solve all magic answer. But it can be that non-judgmental friend that is ready to guide you into a deeper understanding of the complexity of who we are. And and so for me to be able to present this and share it to more people, now we are not alone. We should not be doing this alone, as you know. And so that's just kind of my, like, this is not an end all.
Stake in the ground. Yeah.
Let's take advantage of this tool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your knowledge and your wisdom and your sharing. It was I think this is a fun podcast to just be able to think a little bit outside the box. So we're going to rapid fire. Are you ready?
This is the fun part.
This
is our favorite part. Okay. Pizza or salad?
Pizza.
You're my gal. How about candlelight dinner or a burger joint?
Burger joint. Yep.
How about a hike in the woods or a walk on the beach?
Walk on the beach.
I know you're going to say that one. We like the water too. And then we ask everyone on the show this last question. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever received or maybe given someone?
Oh boy. I think for me, and since we're talking about the Enneagram, this little kind of affirmation for a type 3 specific has just been my go-to. And it's, I'm loved and valued for who I am, not what I do. And so with that, I'm tying in something my kiddos and I figured out and learned in some time of stress of, getting things done and do your best. But at what point is your best? So it's do your best with what you have and in the time that you have to do it.
Love it.
That's actually 2 great pieces of advice.
Yes, for sure.
Both of those. And I especially love the first one. It's not my do, it's my who that matters.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Leah, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been a fun conversation. I'm sure that we're all going to dig into our Enneagram books now a little bit more, because now I have to study on 7, Kim. So I know how to work
Good
with
luck with
you
that.
even better. Thank you. And listeners, that's a wrap. Until we meet again, go find joy in the journey. Thank you for listening to the MiDOViA Menopause Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future episodes, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. There are more than 50 million women in the U.S. who are navigating the menopause transition. The situation is compounded by the presence of stigma, shame, and secrecy surrounding menopause, posing significant challenges and disruptions in women's personal and professional spheres. MiDOViA is out to change the narrative. Learn more at MiDOViA.com. That's MiDOVIA.com.